Welcome. This is the Scott County Historical Society. Thank you for participating tonight in these public forum debates. It's the first time we've done anything like this. And I want to thank our partners, the Southwest newspapers, the Shakopee, and the Georgia Chambers of Commerce. Also want to thank Joe Helkamp for being our moderator today, and Lori Helkamp for being our timekeeper. Tonight, our 8 o'clock debate here is with Taylor Kristoffe-Jones and Mark Buesgens. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Ground rules. You have a 3-minute opening statement, followed by a series of questions in which you'll have 2 minutes to answer, and we'll alternate to start on those questions, and then you'll have 3 minutes for a closing statement. Finish. So then we'll start in alphabetical order. Mr. Buesgens.
Thank you. In the late 1990s, I was a young man just leaving Jordan, born and raised here in Scott County, went to college at Mankato State, came home on weekends to be with mom and dad. But I had an opportunity to go to Guayaquil, Ecuador to begin my professional teaching career. Guayaquil, Ecuador, paradise on earth, sun, tropics, 95 degrees every day, and it changed my life. Because at that time I met this beautiful Latina woman by the name of Sarah. Beautiful both physically and beautiful in heart. And we had our first child. And I'm convinced this Latina woman that the best place to raise our family is going to be here in Minnesota. And I'm convinced her based on 3 points. Point number 1 was that the quality of life that we could raise a family here in this area was second to none in anywhere else I had seen in the world. Quality number 2 was the upward mobility that our children could have, the ability to be whatever they wanted to be, second to none here in Minnesota, here in the United States of America. And quality number 3 is it really didn't get all that cold in Minnesota. Well, I brought her here in the summer, in June of 1983, and that's been, what, 24 years ago. She still hasn't forgiven me on that last point, but she hasn't left me either because of the other 2 qualities. That's why I'm running, is to preserve that, and I thank you for allowing me.
Hi, first let me thank all of you for coming out tonight. I know it was a big choice, the Palin debate, us, and I would say I think we both agree. We really appreciate your time. State always kind of falls way under in a presidential year, so it's great that you came out. My name is Taylor, and I was not born here. I was actually born out in Washington State, and I became a military wife when I was 22 years old. That took me to Hawaii. From there I moved to San Francisco, and from there I moved here. One of the things that I fell in love with here was the commute. San Francisco's commute for me was 2.5 hours one way, and that was a regular commute. That wasn't taking into consideration a car accident or inclement weather. What I learned from all of those cities is the goods and the bads of their commuting systems, how they've worked to get people into their cities, how to get people moved around their cities, how to really build them so that they can continue to grow and become these metropolises that we are. I've also seen some of their downsides. Seattle is a really good example in that it shares a lot of what we have here, and they have lakes and they have canals that cut off a lot of their residents the same way that we have rivers and lakes that cut off ours. So I think what I can bring to the table on a transportation issue is going to be that perspective of having been in other states. As a military wife, I think I can speak for those families that we have struggling right now on the home front and away, and really help to address those needs. And more importantly, I'm about working on our little neck of the woods. I haven't had these years of experience in the big government side of it, so I've really dedicated myself to getting to know these cities, getting to know these people.
Mark, are there any major issues that you disagree with your party?
Oh, yes. When my party stands up, the leader of my party, and says, I have a no new tax pledge, and then puts tax on legal product and calls it a health impact fee, right? I find that just appalling. That is terrible, because it treats Minnesotans like we are imbeciles, and that's wrong. I believe that a smoking ban, where the state comes into a private business and says, you must behave this way, is wrong. Nobody ever forced anyone to go into a bar or restaurant. Nobody ever forced anyone to work in a bar or restaurant. If they forced them to go into it, they'd be kidnapped, and if they forced them to work in it, it'd be slavery, for goodness sakes. Nobody ever did that, yet my party pushed this ban on private business, and we've seen a lot of them go out of business. That's wrong. Finally, I believe my party is wrong when it comes to slots at Canterbury Park. They say we shouldn't expand gambling. Well, holy buckets, you could parachute into anywhere in Scott County and not be within 50 feet of a gambling facility. Be it Mystic Lake, be it Canterbury Park, be it any bar, any restaurant, any gas station. They all have pull tabs. They all have scratch-offs. That's gambling. My party says we shouldn't be pushing slots at Canterbury Park, yet that brings in 1,300 new jobs, hundreds of millions of dollars a year into the state's economy. That's wrong. I oppose my party on that issue as well.
Thank you, Mark. Taylor, issues you disagree with your party?
Well, right now, for me, I was coming back to Mr. Baird's answer that he gave earlier, which was there's different definitions of the party. There's the caucus, there's the platform, and then there can be the legislators that you're actually working with who are on your team. For me, I think my answer to that is going to be as it pertains to issues that come before me. Kind of going back to my last answer, which is trying to keep away from that manipulation of how we do business by letting the politics of the back order of our business influence how we do our jobs. And by that I mean using political games or trying to sabotage legislation to get other legislation. I think I would rather be known as somebody who is going to take what comes before me on its merits, and even if it goes against what the party says we should do, if I think it's wrong, then I'm going to stand by those convictions and hold true to what I think my obligation is to the people that I represent.
Thank you, Taylor. Taylor, how will you encourage new business growth?
I have spent, I think I started in 2006, had an opportunity to participate in the Twin West Chamber through a number of their programs. I was in their leadership program that they had in 2006. I participated in their Inside Politics program this legislative session. So I've had an opportunity to see how they work both with the local businesses in their area on the 394 corridor, and then also with the state legislature. And by participating in that, you see how you can be effective on both sides of that fence. Our Minnesota Chamber had their dinner that I attended for the first time this year at the kickoff session. And it was an interesting event because it was prior to the veto override. And our governor addressed that evening very confident in how that outcome would be. And from what I learned through my participation in the Twin West Chamber was there is power in businesses, and they were able to get significant influence onto that and get that rewritten so that it did get the votes that it needed to get that passed. So I think what I see being able to do for the people in my district is take what I've learned from the Twin West Chamber and bring that down to their level. We are a much smaller community from the cities on the 394 community, but I think I can be kind of that gateway to getting them to having a voice and a presence by making myself available to them in a way that the Twin West Chamber is available to their businesses.
Thank you, Taylor. Mark, encouraging new business.
It's not a complicated question. It starts off number one, let's stop treating business as if they're evil. Big business, we've got to tax business, we've got to take money from business, Well, understand, business has no money. The money is there in the ownership and the workers who work in the business. We have to start creating a climate where we encourage business in this area and in this state. We're not there. We have to reduce business taxes. And I mean that seriously. We have to cut business taxes, and we better do it pretty darn quick because our businesses are fleeing the state because of the taxation that this state imposes upon them. That needs to change immediately if we're going to help this economic climate. Number two, we need to cut all the silly red tape and regulations that we have on business, which needs to serve no good except to give bureaucrats more jobs. It's ridiculous. We need to turn this state into a place that embraces new business, understanding that a healthy economy and a healthy business climate is the key to a healthy democracy.